next pay-per-view?
Right.
Gotcha.
Go live. I've got no idea what went on there because I didn't see any of the countdown. I saw the number 19.
I love that.
And then it pans back to... So I've got no idea what went on there. So evening to everyone that may be watching us. We have quite a stacked show today. Hoping to keep it as brief as I possibly can. But my notes, are massive. So first of all, I want to go around the panel. So we're quite blessed to have two guests this evening. Posh, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. Always good to be on here again, talking about the wrestles, and I can't wait for it. Good to see all of you here. And of course, I mentioned to Devon, this is the first time we've been in a video together, so I'm looking forward to that. Good to see all of you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man. It's really great seeing you.
Nice segment away there, Posh. You almost did the work for me. Devon, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I am in the States, so it is the afternoon for me. So I'm, energized, ready to go. First, this got multiple recordings to do today, and this is going to be the most fun when I do. I promise you.
You're too kind. You're too kind. And as always, Kyle, how are you doing?
I'm not bad, Sam. How are you?
Yes, all good. I've watched so much wrestling this week. I've basically been dreaming about it. Because
I've watched none.
right the way from TNA No Surrender to good job I keep up with these things, isn't it? I'll let you off. So from TNA No Surrender to Raw to Smackdown to NXT to AEW, like it's just been mad. But there we are, the perks of the channel, I suppose. I've actually got reason to watch all of them now. If I hadn't got this channel with Kyle, I don't think I would have watched more than SmackDown. But there we are. Right. So first of all, I'm going to start this video a little bit differently because I'm not going to go straight into the news. I think we should give Lee, if Lee is not here, I think we should give him part of the show to start off with, because without fail, he is the first person that joins the stream every single time.
Hey, shout out to Lee.
Good evening, Lee. How you doing? So we've got a little spin that we've given to a little predictions game. The best predictions game obviously comes from Courtholic, but I wanted to put our own little spin on it. So what I've done is for every pay-per-view coming up, whether that be AEW or WWE, we will do a predictions type game where myself will make a prediction, Kyle will make a prediction, and then our guests will make a prediction. So that will mean that basically me and Kyle will go head to head, and then the guest will basically battle to beat me and Kyle collectively. And
are we going to count the last one then, Sam?
I'll total up the scores. I've got my notepad.
I got
no,
right.
We won't count the last one.
Nice.
I've taken an executive decision. It starts from today. It starts from
taking
today.
ownership right off my hands, right?
null and void before today. We did do predictions for Elimination Chamber, but I think we basically, off the top of my head, I think we picked the women's together as the right one. We selected the title match, both title matches, as the winner that won. I'm not sure who we put down as the men's. I think I said that I wanted LA Knight to win, but I thought it was going to be, I don't know actually. So basically, we were pretty much level on that one anyway. But I think with the way that the WWE pay-per-views have been, it's quite hard for us to have different predictions on it, because that pay-per-view itself was quite, I guess, easy to judge. So AEW Revolution is this evening. There is a total of 9 matches, which I say puts elimination to complete. Shame, because they had 4. So first of all, I am going to take a prediction of each of these matches from Posh and Devon collectively. So I'm going to start from the top of the card that was on my phone. The first match being a title match between Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong.
I personally,
I think it will.
Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, either you can answer. I'm not going to like.
Well, Posh, I will say from what I know of AEW, which is not like the most, Orange Cassidy is like pretty over. I would say he's not going to lose it right now, especially if they have a bigger pay-per-view coming up. Like, you know.
No, I agree. He has held that belt from what I remember for quite a long time. Essentially, he's the Roman Reigns of AEW belt lineage, which tells you all you need to know, really. So I think I agree with you. I think Orange Cassidy will retain.
Okay, cool. So this next one I think is really interesting. So we've got an all-star scramble for a future title shot out of the AEW title. So that's Samoa Joe currently. Could change, of course. So the people we've got in this is Chris Jericho, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Hook, Brian Cage, Dante Martin versus To Be Announced. So obviously you can go completely wild card and pick the To Be Announced if you like, but whoever that might be.
Posh, I'm gonna put this on you because I do not know a lot of those wrestlers.
I was gonna. No, I don't. I'm not gonna predict the To Be Announced, but I do. I will predict who is gonna win, and that is gonna be Wardlow, in my opinion. I think they've been building towards that for some time, and I think I think Wardlow is going to win. By the way, judging by the people that you've announced, Sam, in that match, I feel like I've just walked into a butcher shop, because the amount of meat that I have heard as the people announced in that match, oh my word, it is meaty AF. Anyway, I think Wardlow's going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you say that, actually, because I was thinking now, because you've got everything. You've got like Hook as like the high flyer. You've got like 2 guys that just stand there and just throw people around in Powerhouse Hobbs and Wardlow. You've got Chris Jericho that's like a technical wrestler. You've got Lance Archer that's another tall guy that will just throw people around. And then, so it's just going to be nuts. Absolutely.
Brian Cage as well. Like Cage,
I would actually go
Archer, Hobbs, and Wardlow. Like, you're walking into a butcher shop there. So much meat. So much protein in there. You know?
Pause.
I'm definitely telling you, if I would... if I was Hook looking down at the people that I'm going to wrestle, I would be like, do you know what? I'd be doing a like, I know it's not a Royal Rumble, but I'd be eliminating myself, like hiding under the ring, Hornswoggle style, like big time.
You said
Because I wouldn't want to
Hornswoggle.
be involved in that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he hid in the ring, didn't he?
Yeah.
Quote me if I'm wrong, but he did hide in the ring at one stage and then
He
pop
did.
out, didn't he, on one of the matches? Like, back in.
that was his thing, wasn't it?
So, yeah, big time. I think that's got the likelihood of being one of the better matches of this pay-per-view, to be fair. I think you've got so much talent in one match and it'd be great. So next we go to the tag teams. FTR against Blackpool Combat Club.
Do you know what? I'll say FTR. But why not? It depends. Devin, what do you think?
Yeah, I was actually gonna say go the opposite and say the Fight Club. I just it's just something I like the name. You know, I think from what I hear, they're a little bit bigger. Not to be fair, I haven't really watched either of these teams, and I know like fans of AEW are gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, why should you?" But like, guys, I'm just hearing about the predictions. Like, I think I just like the Bullet Club look and name a little bit better. That's literally it for me.
It'll be a great match though. It'll be a great match based on the people in the ring.
This was my whole plan. This was my whole plan to get the guests on split decisions and making them fight it out to the death.
I believe if Devon wants to go for the Blackpool Combat Club, I believe in Devon. We're doing it for Blackpool in the UK.
Yeah,
I
think it could go like either way completely. I think this is one of the ones that you could make arguments for either side, to be honest. It just depends how they want to play out this storyline. So next, I think this is going to be this is one of the ones that I'm looking forward to. So Will Ospreay's first official match is completely AEW against Takeshita is his second name. His first name, I'm not sure because I haven't wrote it down.
One of the guys from like New Japan?
To watch Smackdown. Yeah. A lot of the guys come over from New Japan and kind of have a mix between AEW and New Japan and kind of crossover and so basically the storyline behind it, Devon, is they're actually a part of the same faction. Ospreay has just obviously come in, so basically what they're trying to do is a Don Callis family, and what they're trying to do is make it so that they have their two best talented wrestlers in a match, so they become this all-powerful kind of faction. That's basically the storyline behind it.
Okay. Then if we're gonna have to make a decision, I mean, I would personally go Will Ospreay. Like, it just feels like he has a little bit more heat right now. Like I've heard of both wrestlers, but I've heard a lot more positively recently about Will Ospreay. So, you know, I'm giving it to him.
I'm glad you said that, Devon, because I was gonna go with Ospreay because I think he's just properly signed for them now.
Yeah.
So the momentum's with him. I think it'll be I think Will Ospreay will get the win. He's currently my second favorite William after Saliba for Arsenal.
It's crazy because like I wouldn't want him to start off and lose a match immediately. I don't think that's a good look for anybody. You know, your first official match to a loss, like what's a big name that it's like, I guess there are big names that you could think of that have done that, but for this day and age, it doesn't feel right because everybody just knows so much and it's already got the hype. So it would really just kind of kill that momentum.
So, he's in it twice. I'm just going to double check because I've currently got Brian Cage to wrestle twice on the same night.
Oh man,
Let me have a look.
he's just that good.
No, I ignore me. That's another blooper reel moment. Brian Cage was clearly on my mind at the time because he's not in another match at all. Christian Cage. We're gonna build up so many bloopers. It's gonna be so funny. So we'll try that again. So next on my list, I've not changed the name of one of the wrestlers at all. It's Christian Cage against Daniel Garcia.
Okay.
And it's for the AEW TNT Championship. Christian Cage is obviously the champion at the moment. It was going to be for a title that didn't exist. Brian Cage was going to have a title that he hasn't had until about 2 minutes ago. But yeah, I'll stop rambling now.
Honestly, I think it's time for Christian Cage to lose this title. Like, I feel like he's had it for a long time. Whatever happened to the thing between him and Adam Copeland? Like, did that ever lead to a title match? And if not, then like maybe like drop the title from Christian Cage so we don't have it being like a thing.
They had a title match, didn't they? That
he dropped the title briefly,
show, and they had that weird finish where Copeland won it and then Christian won it like seconds later. I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah,
neither was I.
I would say just drop the title. That way they can maybe get back to the Adam Copeland, rivalry, but with like, it could just be a personal thing versus like any title being involved, because that kind of takes it away from other like newer talents and younger talents that can, because they're already established. I feel like AEW, they did what they needed them to do. Now they can just build off of them being themselves and having their own rivalries without necessarily holding titles, because the whole point is you want the title so you can help bring like light to new people and have new people like fight for it and stuff. You just don't want the same, you don't want like Ric Flair being like Intercontinental Champion for 10 years straight,
No, I'm going to agree there. I think Danny Garcia should win this as payback for Christian saying mean things about his dad.
Nice.
So, from my observation, you both have gone with Daniel Garcia to win that one, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old
Cool.
Danny.
Just didn't want that. Just had to confirm that because obviously I didn't want any cheating to come on my name and writing down different people for different winners. And
you think we're going to use dirty heel tactics there?
Give me 1 second here, guys.
Potentially, I've got to be ready for everything. So, next up, just checking if it's for a title or not. It is. Well, kind of. So, next match is for the Continental Crown Championship, which, to be honest, I didn't really know existed, to be honest. So, yeah, there we are. So I can't even tell you who it is that's the champion. So it's Eddie Kingston against Bryan Danielson.
So Eddie, according to the matches on Wikipedia, Eddie Kingston is the champion, and well, my prediction, I mean, Devon's not here at the moment, but I'm sure he has an answer. But for me, I'm hang on a minute. I'm gonna have to flip a coin for it because I don't know. Heads, it's Eddie. Tails, it's Danielson. Well, it's heads. For the first, Lee Meadows, you'll like this. I'm backing Eddie, not that one. Eddie Kingston. There you go.
I never thought I'd hear the day. I never thought I'd hear the day. So, got a couple of matches left. Because I'm going to count out the pre-show match.
Apologize for that, guys.
No disrespect to the pre-show match, of course, but it's kind of one of those that don't really mean a great deal. So for the next match, we've got the women's title. And the surname of this person that Tony Storm's fighting could cause me some issues and could be another blooper. So give me a second to create the name that I'm going to come up with here.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you're telling me. It looks like a name from The Godfather. It's an Italian surname, I'm guessing. I've probably just slandered a whole
I'm just waiting for you to
surname.
pronounce
Yeah,
it.
I'm about to say the only Italian wrestler who comes off like I can think of immediately is Nunzio. So,
Yeah.
So the first name is Diana, I'm guessing.
okay.
Correct.
Diana. And then the surname is Perazzo.
Correct. Well done.
Hey.
There you go.
Perazzo, if you want
Yeah,
to.
Perazzo.
It looked worse. It looked a lot worse than what it actually became. So I first saw it and I was like, "Oh my god!" But then actually, I did my like proper English and broke down each bit and was like saying it in my head. And I hope she is Italian now because I've just completely slandered her. And this is the moment where she finds me and finds this channel, and we become cancelled.
By all of Italy.
The survey
parts of
says
New York.
Is there a place in Italy called Livingston, New Jersey?
at once.
They have a part of. I'm pretty sure they have a Little Italy in New Jersey.
There definitely is not. So I have that's another one for the bloopers.
Well, to be fair, she's from New Jersey. You know, everyone there. You know, they claim
okay,
a lot of Italians claim to
What
be
you
from there.
going
A
with?
lot of Italian Americans.
Is it the Italians or the Americans?
Can I choose Italian Americans?
I think Sam's frozen
What
there.
happens, Sam?
Oh.
Yeah. Oh no.
Well, I'll mention who. Well, my prediction for the match. I think Tony is going to retain. That's my opinion, but
I was gonna say I'm gonna go with your opinion because I don't know the perspective of the wrestlers
In
here.
sync and
Oh, you don't know Timeless Tony Storm?
perfect.
No, I'm not familiar with this
Devin, you
game.
need to get to know Cake.
You know, the funny thing
Well,
is,
no,
I was
I
gonna
can-
try to react to some wrestling. I was gonna try to do a
shouldn't have
reaction to some like actual like wrestling matches. Everybody keeps telling me to watch Hulk Hogan wrestle in Japan, and I was gonna do like a reaction to it. But this is just more people I have to check out on the list. Cake.
Okay. No, for real. Timeless Tony. Anyway, Sam's back.
Sam. So what were you saying before? That was Italy
So
trying to shut off his
after
Wi-Fi.
that, because I was seeing loads of black screens. Doesn't need any excuse to shut it off. It does that on its own. Completely guess your prediction because I didn't get to see half of it. So
I said
I'm guessing
Tony's going to retain.
Yeah. And I agree.
put Tony Storm.
Yep.
Yeah. Gotta say, I gotta point this way to agree with him.
Not correct. Okay, cool. Well, I guess more people are going to have to sub to improve my internet, aren't they?
Donations, guys.
We'll set up the GoFundMe, don't
I
worry.
will eventually get it right. If only it was that easy. It's perfectly fine. Sort of a month or two back, StreamYard just didn't want to work. And ever since then, it's just on StreamYard. It's nothing else. So it's just bizarre. Second to last match. Samoa Joe versus Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW Championship.
Oh. So you said the Samoa Joe match?
Yeah, Samoa Joe, Hangman Page, Swerve Strickland, triple threat.
Hello, Earth to my guests.
Hey, it's back.
So I think the whole build has mainly been around the feud between Page and Strickland, and Samoa Joe is the I don't want to say afterthought, but he's the guy in the background, which is a bit sad considering he's the champion. But I don't know. Is it too early for him to drop the belt? I'm not sure. Do you know what? I'm in my opinion. I'll say Samoa Joe will retain. But if Devon has another opinion and he'll on someone else, I'll more than happily back him.
You know, I've always really liked Samoa Joe. I wish he would have gotten a little bit more, love when he was on WWE. I personally hope. I think he's going to retain. I think he'll retain. So I agree.
There we go.
Okay, cool. And the last match, Darby Allin and Sting versus the Young Bucks in Sting's final match.
I think you kind of have to give it to Sting in his final match,
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, though, it's always isn't it like wrestling tradition? Well, and it's usually wrestling tradition. If you're retiring, you put over your opponents. That's why I went for the Bucks to win.
Okay.
But again, I don't mind going either way. But it'll be nice for Sting to win on his last match. But it is, of course, wrestling tradition for your opponents to go over if you're leaving or if you're retiring. So yeah, I think, and also Sting's retiring and he's a champion, so I think you can see why the Bucks should probably win this because
okay. I didn't know
they're full-time. They'll be full-time wrestlers and they'll have the belts. You can't really have a retired wrestler with a tag belt unless they vacate it. So I think the Bucks will win.
That makes sense. I didn't know there was a title on the line.
So yeah, I think Young Bucks will win, and Sting will put them over, and it'll be the end of Sting's illustrious career.
Honestly, probably should have been over a little bit sooner.
It's still going to be a shame though.
Like, all respect to Sting, but we got to know when to know when to fold it up sometimes.
How old is he?
It's
like,
got to be
he's
in
late
his
60s,
60s.
Yeah. Early 60s.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like wrestling may have a cap at about 50. Like, where after that, it just feels like, especially depending on the type of wrestler you were, Sting can get away with it, but like certain people like high flyers, maybe call it a day at 50, or learn a completely technical wrestling style. And I am talking to you, Jeff Hardy, if you are watching this.
That's exactly what I had in mind.
Some of the bumps Sting has taken as well recently.
You say that,
makes you nervous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You say that though, but Mae Young's still getting slammed through tables at 78. So
yeah, well,
I don't think Mae Young's the best example. But
just pointing out,
you know what?
so people are built differently,
Yeah.
That's
She was just different, better.
yeah.
Man,
more like they've probably put her in the office in the back and been like, "You must do this, else like we'll remove your name from every WWE product that we've ever had." But yeah, by the by. So I've done my own predictions. I'll just run through them really quickly. So I've got Orange Cassidy, Wardlow, FTR, Will Ospreay, Christian Cage to retain. Christian Cage, I'm just making up names now, I think. Eddie Kingston, Tony Storm, Samoa Joe, and then Young Bucks to retain. Because I was just going to say that, basically that I don't see... It makes no sense for it to be his last match. Still have the titles, and then it's going to be like, oh,
yeah,
what do we do with these titles now? So that was my thinking behind it. Obviously, it'd be a nice swan song for Sting to go out and win. But yeah, it just doesn't make any logical sense to me anyway. So, Kyle, do you want me to go through the matches again very quickly?
Yeah, we'll do it one by one because it's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong.
The annoying Orange. I don't know why he annoys me. He annoys me, but yeah, he's gonna win. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's annoying. I can see what you mean now, because like each match that he has, like it doesn't even feel like a title match that he has now, because he's had so many. It's like, oh, Orange Cassidy's in a title match, and you're like, well, it's not going to change. So, like, and you just go, oh, I do anyway. I'll just go, yeah, skip. So it'll be skipped on the pay per view tomorrow morning. So the All Star Scramble with the Beefy Men, Chris Jericho, Hook, Wardlow.
See, everyone else said Wardlow would win, and I'd probably agree with that. And I'm actually happy about that because I think Wardlow deserves a lot more, to be honest. He's been on the road to something for a while. He's been there since the start, right? Like,
yeah, he was MJF's like lackey, wasn't he?
Yeah. So,
yeah,
I think it'd be great for him to actually be a bit higher than where he is now.
Yeah, and think how much of a match that would be, Samoa Joe and Wardlow. Like that would just be insane. Like that's got the potential for potential
got a
for
great
100% 5-star match.
Yeah. It's got the look of a champion.
Shoes of a champion.
For for sure. FTR Blackpool Combat Club.
I think that one could go either way, really, couldn't it? I'd probably lean more towards FTR. I think. To be fair, I can't even think what's going on with those two. But yeah, FTR. I'm gonna go with FTR.
In all honesty, I don't think there's an awful lot going on. To be honest, I don't think there's any massive storyline. Certainly not in my notes from last week's AEW. So I don't even think there is much of a storyline. I think it's become quite of a staple for them to, because they have so many factions, become quite a staple for them to go up against each other in the pay-per-views, like Stadium Stampede matches, etc., etc., etc. So like it's kind of, they've got to put them in almost now because they've got so many good tag teams and factions. So next one, Will Ospreay against Takeshita.
I'm gonna back your boy Ospreay, I think, just because of obviously he's just signed, like Posh said, and he's so good in the ring. Like from what I've seen, he's so good. So he deserves a win there.
It's going to be one of those ones, I think, that you're just going to be able to sit back and just enjoy the wrestling. Like, there won't be any like massive kind of huge moves or anything. It will just be like a really good technical wrestling match because they're both like just talented wrestlers. So the Daniel Garcia against Christian Cage match.
See, I'm gonna say Cage retains, just because I like what he's doing. He's still got a lot of getting a lot of heat from everyone for his whole gimmick and stuff. It just works really well, and I think he should be champion for a bit longer, to be honest. Like I think if he was going to drop the title to someone, the time was to do it for Adam Copeland or Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that could have been a back and forth thing for months, like just over that title, but they didn't do that. So I think Cage retains.
Writing team should get a pay deduction for that.
Yeah, they had that incredible match, and then just flattened it. There wasn't anything to it.
I compared it that the finish between Christian, I keep saying Edge, Adam Copeland. I compared it to WCW in the 2000s.
Yeah, just
like the finish that was all over the place.
Yeah,
it was. It was just too quick as well. I think like for Edge just sign or Adam Copeland just signing, like, and that was like the first big storyline with him in it. Surely they can't just leave it there. Like,
it almost felt like somebody was just a fan of wrestling wrote it versus somebody who like knew what they were doing. Like they just saw that, oh man, Adam Copeland's here. We'll make him obviously have a rivalry with Christian Cage. But then they didn't realize, like, okay, what goes into that rivalry? Why is it like, what's going to make it work from now till next year or now till whatever, and make it go properly and make people be like, look back on it and be like, wow, that was a good rivalry. Like you look back at like Shawn Michaels and Triple H when Shawn Michaels comes back, you know, and they do the whole like, oh, is DX becoming a thing? And then, you know, that it just works out so much different, you know, like when you actually properly write it for long-term storytelling.
Yeah, I kind of remember like saying to Carl and on a video that it was almost like if they'd have time traveled back to the Attitude Era and then wrestled, it had that same sort of feel during the match. It was then just a complete botch at the end with that whole table thing, and like it was just so great. It was like what could have been. But I think for me, the actual ending of the match completely ruined it and kind of overshadowed the rest of the match in terms of how good it was, which is a shame. But there we are. Maybe it might pick up at some stage, but it just seems like I don't know how they're going to start it now, really. So we've got a couple more matches. Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson, with obviously Eddie Kingston as the champion.
It's a tough one, that, because obviously both are quite over, right? Like, well, it seems to me. Both are pretty good in the ring. Fucking amazing in the ring. But I don't know if Eddie Kingston's ready to lose it. Like, I don't know, because I don't know what's happened. I can't really say. But from just my feeling and just guessing, I'm going to go with Danielson. I don't know how mad of a shout that is, but yeah, I'm going to go for change the titles there.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's mad because, again, that's one of those ones. That's one of those ones. If you took away the title from that match, you could call that either way. So I guess it's sometimes worth doing that as well. Like, if you're not up to date with the storylines like I am, because I have to be, you would call it completely either way. So yeah, so we've got 3 more matches. The women's title, the Italians against Toni Storm.
I'm going timeless, Tony. I got to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave it there though.
After that praise that you gave, I think that was no way that was going to go. So last 2 matches. So the triple threat for the title: Samoa Joe, Hangman Adam Page, and Swerve Strickland.
Wait, who was it? Sorry.
Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, and then Samoa Joe as the champ.
Oh, and Samoa Joe's champ. Oh, it's probably going to be Samoa Joe retain, but I'm going to say Swerve Strickland because I just really like him. I just think his style's sick. Like,
yeah,
I think he is sick.
Yeah, I was. Well, as I just read that to you, I was thinking in my head, kind of, what could actually happen. And obviously, on AEW the past week, Samoa Joe was just like Posh and Devon said, like an afterthought almost. And Hangman Adam Page came to the ring, saying he was injured and saying that he was out of the triple threat match. Swerve came into the ring. Swerve was then having some like beef with Samoa Joe, and then Hangman Adam Page actually said that he didn't say anything, and he just like blindsided Swerve Strickland. So actually, I don't think that's far from what could happen, because it's not unlike AEW to have an amazing champion like Samoa Joe, and then just drop it to create a whole new storyline with Swerve and Adam Page. So yeah, that's quite likely. In my head, I was thinking, well, that could happen. So then the last one, Sting and the Young Bucks. They're all on the same team now. Sting, Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, Posh and Devon already said it. Really, as their it's his last match, and then they are title holders. They gotta drop the titles, right? Like, they have to. So that's probably how it's going to go. So I'm going to go with that. Although I would love to see Sting actually win his last match, because I think it'd be very respectful to do for him.
Can
just vacate him.
How young are the Young Bucks really?
Yeah,
like...
I think we've got.
That's why as years go by, I have to say the Bucks rather than
mid-30s.
Just gonna say, like, how long do we have to keep up the facade? Just call them the Bucks. I think that might be the better option at this point. The old Bucks.
Oh, Samuel.
I still might have to call them the Young Bucks because I might. I don't want to hurt Lee Meadows' feelings in the chat. What am I on about? He's 24 years old, Lee Meadows. What am I on about there?
He does look 24 every time I see him.
Of course.
He's not far off. Right, it looks like we've lost Sam.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Getting something.
Hey.
There he is.
So I'm going to do it. I'm back.
Just about. You're waving,
Okay.
but
yeah.
We'll do my
choppy.
magic trick of turning the Wi-Fi. Look, sender's right here. No effect. So catch up with these comments, albeit a little bit blurry, maybe.
Thank you, Lee.
So Lee said right at the start that he's all on the community page. Appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I'll do that too.
Will Ospreay, Bub, as he always says in his thick Essex accent, if you can even call it Essex. It's a slight knockoff from a London accent, just sounds a little bit different. We're live. That was probably to one of my bloopers.
Yeah. That was me saying that I'm backing
I'm not
Eddie
even going to read that one out.
Kingston, that is.
But it's
Not the one
to
he's
do with
thinking of.
Certainly not the one he's thinking of. I was thinking about another Godfather. That's a wrestling reference, I believe. Always back, Joe. Couple of love hearts from Lee, and I think Sting has been incredible for respect to him. And I'm a traditionalist. I go posh books to win, and then this is a little jibe at my internet to say that I'm back in 8-bit. Well, thanks for that, Lee. I'll just turn up to your house and use your Wi-Fi, and then.
like when Triple H went in Randy Orton's house. That's what Sam's gonna do in Lee's house. Watch out, Mr. Meadows.
just like position. I'll just position my laptop and just peek my head through the window. And what's the password, Lee? So, right, that's my notebook going down. So, on to a little bit of a whistle-stop tour. I think I've spoke mostly about what happened on AEW while we've been kind of discussing the said stuff, because I spoke to you about Hangman Adam Page coming out pretending to be injured, and then in fact he wasn't. With Swerve Strickland. Ospreay obviously came in, did a little bit of a speech. Don Callis come out and, like I said before, kind of said two of our main wrestlers are wrestling each other. We're just going to be this amazing faction. And then towards the end, FTR came out and attacked Darby Allin and Sting, which is obviously what wrestling in any form does just before pay-per-view match. And then actually Sting came from there's a surprise attack, attack them both, and then they stand strong in the finish of AEW Dynamite. So that was quickly that one. I'm going to quickly speak a tiny bit about Elimination Chamber, because I know that's potentially the pay-per-view that everyone else has seen bits of.
Ah, man.
So
I know Devin wants to
I will
speak
get
about
my
that.
fancy pictures up on
Yeah.
the screen.
I gotta say, I stayed up
So,
until
with that in
probably
mind,
8 o'clock in
I'm
the
going to
morning
speak.
watching this.
Devin said he got a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, I was gonna say I stayed up till probably 8 o'clock in the morning watching
wow.
this. And that was after a work day. So like it was not like the best feeling. Like personally, I felt like I was dying through like
Well, now
the
you know
last
how
half.
we feel in the UK
Exactly.
when we have to stay up until like stay up at 1 in the morning to watch to watch wrestling live.
It was like I was gonna make the decision: should I just take a nap right after work and just like continue on, wake up early? But I decided like, oh, it's already like 12 o'clock at night. I'll just stay up for a few more hours. I probably should have took the nap. But the event itself, I will say there are parts of it that I really liked, parts of it that I was like, why is this happening right now? I don't like the match order. I think this is the same thing we talked about with the Royal Rumble. I don't think it's good to start off with a women's Elimination Chamber match, then go to a men's tag team match, followed by another like men's Elimination Chamber. Like, if you're gonna do the two Elimination Chambers, I'm not gonna say do them back to back, but like maybe have like the tag team first, Elimination Chamber, then the women's match, and then the second Elimination Chamber, or but it just feels a little weird. The Rhea match, I know why you want it to have be last, but when the whole event is Elimination Chambers, she's not even in one. Like, she is the champ, she's gonna get all the love. Make her go second to
She is
last and then
Australian as
finish it
well,
off.
so that's kind of
Well,
why
yeah,
they
no,
did
it's
it.
like hometown hero
I
type
do agree
thing.
with you,
But
though, Devin.
yeah, like you could have just made her match second to last and then finish it off with the men's Elimination Chamber, and I felt like that would have been the better ending. And also, like, I know it's Australia, you guys, they couldn't get every superstar to get out there, but having, what was it, like a 1 hour tag team match after a like 30-minute Elimination Chamber match, followed by 45 minutes or something of like, well, it felt like 45 minutes of a talking segment, like between Cody and like who else was there? It was like Seth. Yeah, Seth was there. The whole time I'm just like, wait, when is a match starting? Like, yeah, it just felt, and like just them getting to the ring felt like it took 5 minutes. Them talking, them going over like all these additional dramas, the stuff with him and The Rock, like, that it was all like, I guess, cool to set up some momentum. But let's be honest, The Rock just went on live. What was it, like yesterday or the day before? That was better promo than the whole thing we watched from Cody just then. All we needed was like, I'm like, this is, I don't know. It just felt like a lot of wasted time. And if you were in Australia and watching that live, I'm sure it was incredible. But for the home audience, a lot of that stuff could have been cut out. A lot of that stuff could have just been another match. Maybe if you want to do, because 4 matches isn't even really a great pay-per-view amount of matches. So yeah, those were some of my opinions.
Yeah,
there.
so I've got
the
a
matches
couple
were
of points.
decent.
Yeah, I've got a couple of points like to put to you that kind of become questions, but I've kind of looked into a little bit as to why they have 4 matches. Because 4 matches in a segment that should have been on Raw and SmackDown just doesn't make any sense when it's one of their, like, it's one of the pay-per-views that people get excited for more than, say, like a standard pay-per-view, because of the match type and because of the spontaneity and you don't know what's going to happen. So apparently they had lots of more matches planned, but due to all the injuries that they've had, they had to change it completely to put in that Grayson Waller effect thing, change the matches. But again, still, they've got a big enough roster to put some matches in the middle like they normally would do in a normal pay-per-view and just put some matches that you're not really that bothered about. So yeah, that's kind of the point that I made, because I tried to kind of look into it and make sense of it, because it just doesn't make any sense. So I can see why they did the main event as they did and not the men's chamber match. But in my head, I'm thinking the only way that you should make that a main event is if Nia Jax was going to win the title and kind of go, oh my God, for Australia, she's won the title, etc. So when you knew full well that that was going to be the outcome of the match, they should have just gone, well, she's going to get a moment wrestling in her hometown, in her home country. So just put the men's chamber last. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It was good for me, of course, because after being at Rampage in Belgium until 6 a.m. and having to then get up to watch it, it was very good for me that I could wait another couple of hours till the pay-per-view is finished, watch the women's chamber match, skip the tag team match, watch the men's chamber match, and then skip the title match. So it's very time. But yeah, I wanted to know, my kind of question to you based on watching both matches, did you prefer the men's, women's, the men's, women's? It's both now. The women's chamber match or the men's chamber match?
I would say personally, here's my thing with both elimination chamber matches before I pick a favorite. I don't think elimination chamber matches should be used in the same way as like steel cage matches. Like, I don't think they're meant to be serve the same purpose. So when you do an elimination chamber match, I personally feel like a title has to be on the line. A title shot opportunity, I guess that also works. But if you're gonna do that, people have to be bleeding. Like, it has to like be one of those like, we were trying to end somebody's career within this match, or at least that's what it looks like for the fans. Because that's how, like, I'm 33 now. That's how I grew up with the elimination chamber match. It comes in being like, okay, this is like 6 people fighting for it all. Like, this is it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care what happens after this. So I think the stakes are too high for them to treat the match like they treat it right now. Now, with that being said, the women's match had some good moments to it. Like some good moments to it. The men's match had slightly more good moments, but it was like one of those things where like the men's match wasn't like blowing over the women's match like completely, It had moments where Randy Orton, obviously you're never going to go wrong with Randy Orton being in a match. It's like almost impossible. What's the guy, the YouTube guy, Logan Paul. Yeah. I like Logan Paul. Like, he can wrestle. I feel like he's got that he's just got that look and that factor to him where like he's just sitting in his cage just drawing up stuff, and that becomes viral clip because he just has that, that ability to be a good heel. It's just like so natural to him that it's incredible. So like KO, him slamming Logan Paul's head against the thing a bunch of times, and I remember seeing that happen. It was like, this is hilarious. He's been taunting him, and he doesn't even give him a chance. He just immediately starts going for it. They did try to break the glass too many times. I will say that. I think they tried to break the plexiglass like maybe like 4 or 5 times in a row. and then they got it on the last one, and it just felt kind of like, all right, well, if y'all would have got it on the first or second one, I would have been impressed. 4 or 5 times, I've become less and less impressed every time he slams them in there. So like at a point, maybe just try something else. The women's, again, it's supposed to be a brutal match. So having all these women that it feels like none of them are really like the toughest women out there. It's crazy to me a little bit. They're all very cute. I think Naomi looks incredible. I don't think she should be in an elimination chamber match doing butt bounces on people. Like, I don't think that's effective. I would say the same thing about the one chick with she's really what's the chick who got arrested? She's very pretty. I love her look. I don't think she should be in an elimination. Yeah, Liv Morgan. I don't think she should be in any type of elimination chamber match. Like, again, I love the way she looks. I don't think she should be in an elimination chamber match. Now, the chick who ended up winning, I kind of saw there were like 3 women. I thought, what's the one chick with the hair? She's like Bianca. I like her. She definitely fit. Becky Lynch, I will say, I'm not like the biggest fan of Becky Lynch, and I guess that's just me personally. I was watching her in the ring, and I was just like, I'm just not seeing it right now. And I think I may have missed out on the heyday, and obviously personality comes into it where people just love her. But for me, when I was watching it, I was just like, I would have probably gave it to either her or the one chick with the she's like a younger chick, had like this blue and pink outfit on. She's doing a lot of like gymnastic type of stuff, but also doing some like good like traditional wrestling moves as well.
Oh, so Tiffany Stratton?
I think so. She's like a younger person there. So, I liked her, and I felt like it was between the 2 of them I would have gave it to if it was me, if I was booking it. But everyone else, they didn't do horribly. I would say that. The women's match was not horrible. It wasn't like, oh, I got to skip this or anything. Wasn't the worst match on the card that night, and same with the men's. Like, men's was just okay. It had way more moments, but I think it was just because the impacts of the moves they were doing were a little bit bigger. Like none of the women really could throw each other into the plexiglass properly, but the men could, so that's just one advantage to them. A couple more slams to the ground, which felt a little bit bigger. The women did a couple of them, but not as many. And I will say, guys, can we stop jumping? Can we stop climbing to the top of the elimination chamber tubes and jumping off? It becomes a lot less impressive every time you do it, and doing it 3 times in one elimination chamber is a little insane. So, I guess those are my thoughts there altogether.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you made a lot of good points there. I certainly think that I've come to terms with the matches that we used to see in Elimination Chamber. They just don't happen anymore. So, but I do completely agree with what you're saying in terms of kind of the 2 things that they have that are like, oh my God moments, are now something that they're using again and again and again. So they're less becoming like, oh my God moments, because the 2 things they've got to do now in this era is to slam someone through the glass or jump off the top. And unless it's like a really high flying one, like Tiffany Stratton was on the top of one of the cages, I believe, and did like a bit of a somersault on her way down to hitting.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really impressive because of what it was. Wasn't impressive because she jumped off the top cylinder. It was just impressive because of the ability it took to do that effectively. So that's what I've got from the women's match. And then I think Liv Morgan, so it was twice in that match that they jumped off the top, because I believe Liv Morgan was the other one that jumped onto Rodriguez at the bottom. So
I think Liv did it
and then
like
in the
at
men's
least 2
one, so they're the
times,
two
and
ones.
I was gonna say I think
Yeah.
the Naomi probably also jumped off the top like 2 or 3 times, at least twice. She was like on the she like held onto the cage and tried to jump off of that like twice too.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if she's been like in any matches before that are like the Elimination Chamber, she's done exactly the same thing. So again, it's just a move that's been repeated again and again. So they're the two things that I got from the women's, and then from the men's, I thought it was a really cool angle that Kevin Owens was smacking his head up against the pod when Logan Paul was ready to come out, like he was smacking his head up to like intimidate him. I thought that was really cool because that was a different angle. And then I did think it was pretty cool when Bobby Lashley started spearing people through the pods, because again it just worked, because it kind of reminded me of just brutal stuff. You could tell that actually, do you know what? If I got speared through a pod by Bobby Lashley, it's going to really hurt. So
It's crazy because the most effective time that ever happened was when Goldberg did it. And I'm like pretty sure they said that was on accident. Like they didn't actually mean for the plexiglass to break. So it just really goes to show, like the spur of the moment, the accidental stuff in wrestling, like you really can't just recapture those moments all the time. You know, it really worked because Goldberg really did it on accident too. You know, just incredible.
If you haven't seen that chamber match when Goldberg was in it, please go and watch it. It's one of the best pieces of wrestling ever, because to paint a picture without telling you what happens, he just basically wipes out the whole floor of wrestlers that are in it with him one by one systematically. It's just incredible. So yeah, that was my kind of two things that I had on the chambers, other than the fact that neither was bad, neither was amazing. But I enjoyed the women's match more because I think there was better moments of wrestling in that match than there was in the men's. Like there was a couple of times when I thought, "Oh my god, that's an amazing move!" Like for example, jumping off the top of that. But again, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because if you put something at the start of the pay-per-view that's a chamber match, the likelihood of it being better is quite high, because you're so excited for the start of the pay-per-view and you're thinking, oh yeah, there's a chamber straight away. So actually I'm thinking now, was it that the women's chamber was better than the men's, or was it just because I was fresher and I was more excited for the start of the pay-per-view than you are sort of 2-3 hours down the line when it's towards the end? So that could have been it. But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the women's more. Posh and Kyle, if you've seen it, have any thoughts?
I agree. I think it was a decent event. I think both winners in the chamber matches make sense, particularly for Becky Lynch, because she's the only person that hasn't challenged Rhea yet, and I think Becky and Rhea at Mania makes sense. And even though we've seen Seth and Drew quite a lot, I think Drew's improved his heel character now. He's got a bit more. I think both winners made sense, and that's good, because it's always good when wrestling makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on that.
Kyle?
I don't actually know when Devon was speaking. Go on, Kyle.
Oh, sorry. I think there's a bit of a delay there, Sam. But yeah, really, I didn't see all of both matches. But what I did think was that Devon's points were really good. about how like the old ones it always used to be for a title or something like that. And I think it doesn't help that the pay-per-view is like just before Mania. Like, whereas it didn't used to be a pay-per-view, did it? Like, it used to be on pay-per-views, like an elimination chamber, like.
No way out.
So I think that's where it's going wrong. Like, because it's before Mania, they have to like sort of not make it for titles and stuff like that because of injuries and because for Mania you want to keep title matches there, right? That haven't just happened. So it's a tricky one, really. But yeah, I think Devon's points were really good, and the matches themselves were okay, okay from what I've seen. But I didn't see it all, so I can't really comment too much.
I feel like when I was younger, they used to have because I remember I think the last time I was this big into wrestling, they didn't have Elimination Chamber. They had like Revolution, like the New Year's Revolution.
New Year's Revolution, I remember that.
Yeah. So like that one was actually perfect because what was it like, pretty much 1st of January, you could always have like that's enough time between Mania that even if you did drop a title, you still could start a rivalry between it and it's like build up to WrestleMania. It just feels like this pay-per-view. One, it's like it's way too like eliminate. We don't need an elimination chamber pay-per-view. That's a match type. Not every match type needs to be a pay-per-view event, just like TLC. But like also this is super close to Mania. So it's like you don't even really want to like start off with a new champ going this close to Mania. It's gonna make it more difficult. So this is kind of like a waste of a pay-per-view. Like it's a really great episode of Smackdown, but it's a disappointing pay-per-view event,
Oh, I think Sam's just gone. But yeah, and I agree, Devon, to be honest. Like I think they should just scrap the pay-per-view thing. Like, I don't understand why they had to do that for TLC and Elimination Chamber and things like that anyway. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like so many matched. Because what are they gonna do? Like, have they ever did like a? Wait, didn't they have the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view?
I think they did. Yeah.
I think most gimmick pay-per-views have been scrapped.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, they should.
Is TLC? Is the TLC one still a thing?
Don't think so. Not for a while, anyway.
Yeah, still a thing, I believe.
Oh, it is. Wow.
Okay. Oh, don't you think? Oh, like... okay. But actually, no, it's not actually. Scrap that. It's definitely not in last year's. Definitely not in this year's.
Yeah, last one was 2020.
Actually, I think while I was thinking about that and while I was listening, while I was listening to all your points, it kind of having it as a full pay-per-view, it kind of makes the whole stipulation less exciting.
Yeah.
Because if you just randomly said next week, imagine a world where there wasn't an Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, and coming up to Mania, they said, right, actually, for this title, for one of the titles, for the IC title, let's say, I'm going to put an Elimination Chamber with the same people that we had in this pay-per-view, let's say. Let's make it realistic, and have it for Logan Paul's title. That then becomes exciting.
Yeah.
Certainly more exciting than it would be on this pay-per-view that we've just seen. So actually, I think they're making it harder for themselves to sell Elimination Chamber by making it a pay-per-view.
Yeah. And I mean, I would go on and say the same thing about, like you said, like all the gimmick matches. Like
up on screen,
you're ruining it.
When Devon was speaking.
Oh. Hello?
Yeah. It clearly didn't work when Devon was speaking before, because now I see Becky Lynch in a very... and then the men's one, when it comes up.
It has come up.
There's Drew. Again, very pixelated, very poor quality, just like me. So
Wouldn't have it any other way.
run through quickly what it's part of it now. So I'm going to quickly run through, basically, really quickly, what happened in Raw and SmackDown and NXT. It's going to be a whistle-stop tour. So on Raw, as of last Monday, there was a really nice pay-per-view. I've got pay-per-view on my mind. Really nice segment at the start of Raw with Rhea, Dom, and Becky. They're all in the ring. Becky interrupts what Rhea and Dom says, and word for word, she calls Dom a dirty kumquat. Word for word. The commentary team were that shocked. They didn't even know what to say. I think Maggle Cole basically, is that even a word? Because he'd never heard it before. Because it sounds like a very English word that most Americans won't have a clue what it is.
Okay, as the American representative,
what it was.
I will say we have heard of that term before. Like Michael Cole is just an idiot. Like no, because like I've heard it when I was growing up. People always used to say kumquat all the time because it sounds like a dirty word, but it's just like a fruit. But like I know Michael Cole has heard of that before. He's just being an idiot. I don't know. I've always had a thing like with Michael Cole. I grew up watching SmackDown, so Michael Cole was like my announcer growing up. He just says some off the wall stuff sometimes, guys. He's just being weird. He needs Taz with him.
Yeah, I think it's great though. That's the whole idea of him. I think that's the whole idea as to why he's still commentating, and pretty much everyone else from his kind of time are no longer still commentating, because he's got that kind of goofy edge that people really like.
It's like I don't hate him.
So then carrying on,
I don't like him.
I think that's the whole point, though, isn't it? Like sometimes you think, yeah, he's a great commentator, then other times you think, well, I don't really like him anymore. I think that's why they still have him, because he's very kind of divisive in the way that he does everything. So then the comedy factor carried on, and Becky then does an Australian accent and mimics. I'm not going to try and do it because it'll go horrendously. But in a fake Australian accent, she said Rhea Bloody Ripley, just to kind of intimidate her a little bit. I thought both of these things together. I love a bit of comedy factor. I love something that's off the wall, kind of not normal that you normally see. And it seems to be this week in both Raw and SmackDown, it seems to be like just comedy value, because there's a couple Raw moments that I'll speak about in a moment. I think it was a fantastic start to a feud for Mania. A little bit lighthearted, a little bit funny, something that you're going to remember, and something that's going to you're actually going to go, do you know what? I'm really excited to see where this goes. So that was that. The other notes that I've got, as always, because Raw, I've got so many notes, as always, was Drew actually came into the ring, started saying some stuff about how he's won Elimination Chamber and how he's amazing and etc. etc. He then kind of mocking CM Punk, sat down, how Punk does in the middle of the ring, to, again, he has got a very thick accent going, don't shoot up my kilt, you perv. To the Australian, what am I on about? To the person that does the camera work in WWE. So again, he's kind of mocking CM Punk, making CM Punk look small. He's taken that angle for a few weeks now. So yeah, that was kind of what Raw was at. 2 moments again that it just says it all really about Raw week in, week out. So I am going to quickly go to SmackDown because this is again the most recent. Roman Reigns comes out to start off with, says acknowledge me, to loads of boos. He then says, well, it used to be so different. You used to really like when I come out. You can't stand it now. It must just be the fans. Like, it's your fault completely. And then he says, I'm going to try that again. And if you don't respond with positive encouragement, then I'm going to basically leave because I've done my obligation. He turned around to Paul Heyman and went, yeah, start the jet. Like, I know what's going to happen. So obviously the boost started again. Then Paul Heyman was actually like, no, we can't leave Roman. We've got something planned. Somebody's going to come in. Obviously, insert The Rock. Comes in. This is the next comedy factor. He says, so he announces who he is. Blah, 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 blah. He then says, Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes.
How many people tonight are from Phoenix, Arizona? And he went, is that quite a few? And they were all like, the crowd was like, yeah. He went, oh, well, that makes sense because it's the #1 city for meth and cocaine in all America.
and the crowd cheer for it like it's a good thing.
Oh man, that happens though. That sounds right.
This is where it started because he thought that was the end of it, but that was just the tip. That was just the tip. He then went on to say, finally, your life has meaning because you cactus-loving crackheads have something to shoot into your veins. And as you sit and look at my greatness is basically what he says. He then went on to say that pro wrestling is cool and exciting now, apparently. I can't say I agree with him. But then he went on to say it was cool and exciting because of him and the bloodline, which again, they're never on it. So it can't really be that cool and exciting. And he then went on to say that WWE is selling out each week, even in this crack den with popcorn. So he carried on with the drug paraphernalia.
Crazy how they can say that in WWE now.
Yeah, I was quite surprised.
The Rock can get away with it, really. So
yeah, I was quite surprised because it's not very PG-13 of them, is it?
Nah, I'm like, does The Rock know that the Attitude Era is over?
Yeah, that's why I found it really cool, to be fair, because it was almost like we'd gone back 10 years. So then he started dishing dirt on Cody, saying no to a 1-2-1, like 1 against 1 with Cody. So it's not how it works. You can't just come in and expect to face The Rock and the best and whatever. Everybody then got a bit hyped because it was like, oh my God, he's saying no. He said then, settle down, crackhead Karens and meth head Marys. I thought that was quite good use of alliteration there. I'll give him that one. He then went on to say that all the women in the arena wish they could go one-on-one with him and that he would give them The Rock's 22 inches of heaven. He then went on to proceed to say that no, his 22 inches wasn't his tackle, it was his biceps. So it was just, I was sitting there watching this thinking, am I watching SmackDown from last week or am I watching like a mock-up that someone's made? Like, I couldn't work it out in my head. I just thought it was amazing. So basically, after all that, we've gone like half an hour deep into SmackDown now, if you pardon the pun, with Rock's 22 inches of heaven. Counter offer. So he basically said counter offer, night 1, Cody and Seth versus Roman and The Rock. If Cody and Seth win, the bloodline will be free of night 2. So it will be a 1v1 against Cody and Roman. But if they lose and Roman and The Rock win, it will be bloodline rules where anything goes. So yeah, that spells trouble for Cody Rhodes, because then anything goes, and it's basically a 4-on-1 at the 5-on-1 at this point, like, because Paul Heyman will probably get involved. So this basically said, next week in Dallas, we want your answer face to face. Rock starts Rock's chant that he always does, if you smell, and then Roman takes the mic off him. He basically said, I need one thing from you, and I want you to acknowledge me. The Rock takes off his glasses and said, I acknowledge you as my tribal chief. The crowd then start chanting, sell out.
They are just,
he
gently starting the leanest bit of tension there.
Yeah. He then went on to carry on with his drug paraphernalia and said, go home and smoke some more crack. And that. And then he went on to say, if you smell, pass the microphone over to Roman Reigns. And then Roman Reigns says what the bloodline is cooking. And that's where. And then the rest of the Raw was just completely random matches that were thrown together and they were awful. So that's that. Got a couple of comments that I'm going to catch up with. Lee's saying, I'm definitely not 24.
No, he's not.
I thought
he's
you
23.
was. You'd have fooled me. You'd have fooled
23.
me.
Close. He's close. He's almost 24.
Apparently, the video quality is going to be much better on these live streams because I'm walking around Lee Meadows' house to use his internet.
Nice.
They both have Australian heritage. I thought the main event one, which I might be missing something. Spoke a lot, and that my
you were talking about the Rock is,
very
and I quote, 22 inches of heaven, to which
oh,
and then I joined in with the.
Oh.
Okay then. So
from what I hear, The Rock's really loves The Rock really loves cherry pie.
Over the weekend. Really good pay-per-view. I was speaking to Carl about it, and it's almost like, because TNA are never going to be as big as AEW, but it's almost like it goes for me, WWE, AEW, and then underneath those two are TNA, where people can kind of learn the craft and eventually, hopefully, go to AEW or WWE. So I watched the pay-per-view thinking, did they have a credible shout of, good wrestling? I really enjoyed it. It's 3 matches I'm going to pick on. As we all know very well, Eric Young was facing Frankie Kazarian, and it was for the future title shot. Eric Young actually won that match. I've got loads of notes, but I'm just going to go to the main bit. The next one, which is like the semi-main event, was Moose against Alex Shelley, which was a no surrender rules knockout world championship match. That's an awfully long name for a match, but yeah, it was really good. There was a couple of things that were really impressive. There was one moment where there was barbed wire that was wrapped around Moose's body, and Alex Shelley gave him 2 spears, which was quite cool. And there was one moment where he put Moose's hand in a turnbuckle, like wrapped it completely, and just properly slammed into it. And I actually went, oof, because I was thinking, that's going to hurt. And then there was also Moose getting absolutely slammed onto a trash can, which I just thought was great because it made a boring weapon like a trash can actually less boring. And then again, someone that we know very well, Mustafa Ali faced up against Chris Sabian. Chris Sabian being like a 12-time TNA X Division champion. Mustafa Ali actually won that. There was a couple of cool spots. There was one moment which I actually put into the group chat where Chris Sabian was on the top rope. He jumped off. Mustafa Ali dodged it and then did some so basically my note was Ali was kicked off the top turnbuckle. So Ali was on there. He got kicked off. He then flipped and landed on his feet. Chris Sabian then come off the top rope to try and obviously get Ali. Ali then rose to his feet and did like a double leg kick to absolutely wipe out Chris Sabian. That was cool. There was another like couple of moments that were pretty cool. That was my kind of whistle stop tour of TNA because something I've always wanted to do on this channel is to create a channel where we do just goes past that a little bit and kind of looks into other avenues that people might want to watch in wrestling, because I certainly enjoy watching just these little moments of TNA, because actually it's like pay-per-views like that, you just get to see people's talent. It's no massive like multi-million pound storylines that you get on WWE. It's no kind of rehearsed every single move like they do in WWE. It's just kind of wrestling as it is in its pure form. So actually it's interesting to watch. So that's kind of where my notes kind of take an end, because I have got NXT, but I feel like I've spoke at everyone that's watching for the last half an hour or so. So I'm going to come around to each person now and kind of end on this. And based on what we know so far of the matches that are going to be at WrestleMania, is there one match that particularly excites you over the rest? I'm going to start with Kyle.
You know what? I can't even think of what matches are confirmed for Mania. Drew and Seth.
So you've got Drew and Seth, Rhea and Becky,
Roman and Cody.
They're all in my head. I can see them as wrestlers, but Roman and Cody. The other women's title is
It's Bailey against Io, isn't it?
Help me out. Yeah, that's it. So they're the ones we've got so far. They're talking about, I've seen on the prediction mill, they're talking about a ladder match, which, it's like a staple of Mania. And there's some fantastic people they can put in that. So based on the predictions, that was really exciting. Because actually, I think that would work. And say like Logan Paul's title, have it like first up on Mania and just say it's for Logan Paul's title, and let's just chuck loads of people in it and cause a madness. So they're the main ones we've got so far.
I'm gonna go ahead and say
and then some potential ones that I've just thought of in my head.
Sorry, Devin. I think there's a bit of a delay there. I think he hears it later than everyone else.
Oh, I gotcha. No, I was just gonna say I'm just excited right now for whatever like Cody and Roman and The Rock are gonna be doing. It felt like it was going towards like a tag team match between like them and maybe like adding like Seth or another fourth person in there, but I don't know. Now it feels like maybe they're still gonna do a one-on-one. Maybe they'll switch it to Rock versus Roman, like they are trying to do. Like, I just want to know what's gonna be happening between that storyline because I feel like them having a plan and then them switching it to a different plan, and now it feels like they're switching it to a third plan. It feels like we're watching this in live time, and this is incredible. Like, this is kind of like a new age of wrestling storylines where The Rock is on camera, like at the arena saying things. He's on social media saying things, but he's still in character being The Rock. Like, and like adding towards it. Like, are we getting to the area where like the era where social media is now a major part of like wrestling storylines? Like, this is kind of like this is kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, I do agree with a lot of that because I'm not the Rock's biggest fan in terms of the fact that he fancies doing a film and then he fancies doing WWE and then he fancies doing another film and coming back to WWE. But I do think him coming back has kind of brought an excitement to things because actually he is someone that just kind of says it how it is and is really good for storyline. So I actually think it's really, really interesting and probably genius by WWE to actually get him involved in the whole thing. And for it to actually make sense as well. So if you go back in the bloodline heritage and all the heritage and stuff, it does kind of make sense. It's not like they've just randomly picked it out of thin air. So it does all kind of come together as well. So yeah, I certainly am really excited for that one. I think there's a couple more possible ones. I think Jimmy and Jey Uso might have a match.
Yeah.
I also think and hope that Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair will have a match because they kind of teased that at Mania, at Royal Rumble, but then Jade Cargill hasn't been on a single show since, I don't think. So I'm hoping they're saving that one because I think that could be cool. So yeah, I think that's where we're getting up to. So I guess with that in mind, I'll come back to you, Kyle. Having known all the matches now, is there one or Devon's one that like kind of stand out for you in terms of excitement levels?
Yeah, that one obviously, the main one. It'll be interesting to find out what goes on with that and actually happens. And the Drew and Seth one, obviously we've seen it before. Still interesting. Who knows if Drew wins or not? But yeah, no, I'd like to see something happen with him, Seth, and Punk when Punk's back. I'd like to see them three battle it out. I think that would be a really interesting thing to see. So yeah, them two, obviously the main ones.
Yeah, I don't think it's completely out. Yeah, I don't think it's completely out of the question for Punk to be back, apparently. I'm hearing some loose reports that Punk is making a really good recovery in terms of his injury and stuff, and there is a very slim chance that he could be back. But again, that could be just the rumor mill kind of causing excitement and not having actual credible sources and stuff. So we kind of have to take the old rumor mill a little bit by, excitement, but then be realistic about it and say, actually, it's not that long since he's been injured. So the chance of him actually coming back are still really slim. Posh, is there anything else that you kind of are looking forward to or a match that you would like to see, I guess?
I'm looking forward to potentially the tag match between Cody and Seth versus Roman and The Rock because they've got potential ramifications depending on which way it goes. Because if Cody and Seth win, then when it comes to Cody Roman, it'll be potentially be bloodline free, and if Rock and Roman win, the bloodline will be all over the place for the main event. So Yeah, I think that match would be good, and of course Cody Roman 1-on-1 as well. So I know it's the obvious, but yeah, I think that match is standing out for me at the moment.
Yeah, I do find it pretty cool as well at the minute, obviously, because of the lead up to the new 2K game. Like when the wrestlers come on like a Raw or Smackdown, it comes up at the bottom corner, like their ratings on the new game. I thought that was quite cool little addition. Basically said they've had some a massive part, I think, in what wrestling is today by their just by their being completely different.
Nope. Bad timing. I don't want to start speaking and then
back again. So thank God we're near the end of the stream and my internet doesn't have to try its best for much longer. So if you've not already mentioned it, Box Uncensored stuff on Twitter is incredible.
Yeah.
And then Lee just completely squishing my rumor mill completely and saying that rumor that I was reading isn't him back in the ring. It's that he's on commentary. So thanks for that, Lee.
There have been rumors about him being like
for
the host
undermining
or something
the
or
rumor
other,
that
or
I've just now kidding.
something non-in-ring like that.
Right. Okay. That's kind of where my kind of stuff finishes. I'm going to be pleased to give my voice a bit of a rest because I've just rattled through a week and a bit of wrestling and then step back and done some predictions. So basically, that's it. We've obviously got a couple of videos that have a few days ago. So go check them out if you haven't already. And of course, all the other videos if you haven't already, because they're well worth watching. Again, I'm not plugging them too much, but yeah, they're just worth your time. So first of all, I want to go to Devon. Thank him for coming on.
Yes.
And yeah, just to let him kind of have his
guys, I as always had an incredible time on the Wrestle Dogs podcast here, Dog Talk. Like talking wrestling, I promise you, I haven't been this interested and had this much fun with wrestling in years. So thank you guys for I haven't watched pay-per-views in forever. So yeah, thank you guys for even giving me a reason to. I will say for my channel personally, I do have a YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Just woke up this morning, got over 600 subscribers. So I'm very excited for that. Thank you, anyone who watches, subscribed, commented, liked, anything to my channel. So I'm not there with the big dogs of the big dogs yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. We're making great work. So shout outs to the Wrestle Dogs podcast. Shout outs to Dog Talk. Shout outs to all the dogs here. You guys are all dogs.
Yeah, I don't think it's that at all. I don't think it's a matter of numbers. I just hope that by you coming on this show that people go over and look at your sort of content, because I know a lot of time goes into that. So that's my hope anyway, that besides kind of the wrestling that we talk about, people actually do at the end of the video go over and check your sort of stuff out, because your internet's certainly a lot better than mine. Because if you were trying to do your type of videos on my internet, it wouldn't be fun to watch. So, Posh, you can have your moment to shine now.
Okay, well, you can follow me on Twitter at PoshBertie, and my Instagram is at BertieOneless. You can also find me on Gooner Gathering on YouTube, where we, of course, talk. We try and talk about Arsenal, but mostly we just talk about wrestling. And I'm sure Lee Meadows can back me up on that. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much for having me on. It's always good to be on this channel.
Yeah.
The Dawgs have the wrestle in them.
Yeah, just
Posh, what's going on with your t-shirt or your
certainly do.
hoodie? Is that come yet?
My hoodie's not arrived yet. No,
No.
Hopefully it will do.
Do you know what? I
Dude,
think it might be
hopefully-
for future reference. If you
I'll be
order
able to
some
get-
more. Oh, sorry. I think the internet went a bit mad. But if you order some more, just check before you check out that you're ordering from the Euro side. There's like a switch, USA and European.
Yeah.
So make sure
Okay.
you don't order from that side. I should have let you know before. I am sorry. But...
No, no worries.
But yeah, I think that could be a good segue actually.
Just a quick one as well.
Go on, Sam. No worries.
Yeah, I would just before I let you go, Kyle. I just wanted to point out that Posh has actually started a little series of his own on Gooner Gathering.
Yeah.
With FM24, and is building something really cool because I've certainly enjoyed watching it over the last two streams. Sort of rebuilding. Posh is very. I think this is why I enjoy it because Posh is very like me and kind of thinks in the same ways that I do. So he's removing players from the team that we would like to be removed, and kind of doing it in a different way that might be quite controversial. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Go and check that out. Kyle, I'll let you go ahead now.
One of the first things I did on the first episode was terminate Edu's contract and to get a new director of football. Yeah. It's a good... you're on mute, by the way, Sam.
Yeah, I thought he was trying to speak then, but it was just like nothing happening. I was like, what?
I was just waiting for Carl to speak, to be honest. I was
sorry. Is it my turn, is
I
it?
was just waiting for you to start, yeah.
Well,
yes, you can.
Few videos coming soon. Just look out for them. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss them. Merch, of course, like me and Posh were just talking about. Check it out. Links in the description, and there'll be some in the comments after this as well, in the pinned comment. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching. And thank you to all the dogs who are here to share this moment with me.
I think that's a perfect segue for it to end. I'm going to say no more words other than until the next stream. Obviously, after AEW, we'll come back with the highly anticipated results of the first predictions, and obviously we'll crown our first predictions champion. Hopefully that person doesn't keep it as long as Roman Reigns has kept his title, but we shall find out. Have a nice evening all.
Angie. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.